name is Giselle Carson. I am a business immigration attorney, and I am here to help you strengthen your H-1B visa petition. And how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to talk about how to show your knowledge is specialized for your H-1B visa. And we're going to be doing that via a project sample. You're probably listening to this video because if you're one of our clients, one of our paralegals probably said to you, you need to watch this video because you need to do a project sample. So this video is intended to save you time and make this process a lot more efficient. And also, again, the main goal is to strengthen your H-1B petition. So let's pay attention as to what we're going to talk about. I'm going to give you a very general overview of the regulations, the H-1B regulations, so that you understand why we're doing this. And we're going to talk about the H-1B duties, which are going to be a little different that probably what you may have seen in your offer letter or something like that. And then we're going to talk about the project sample and how the duties and the project sample combine with your education make for a stronger H-1B petition. Before I go any further, I always like to introduce my team because without them, your petition would not be strong. And without them also, I wouldn't be talking to you here. So our main two paralegals are Tyra and Ellen. And then our amazing legal assistant is Danny. So this is our core team, and you're probably going to interact with them at various points during your process with us. Now, the H-1B regulations, again, there's a lot of legal language in here, but the main things that I want you to remember, it's the why. So the H-1B regulations require that the H-1B is given to someone that is working in a specialty occupation. And a specialty occupation is one that requires a highly specialized body of knowledge and at a minimum, a bachelor's degree or higher to obtain that knowledge. So that is how your courses that you have taken for your bachelor's degree or your master's degree come into this picture to show how they give you the specialized knowledge for what you need to do for your petitioning employer. So the duties. I said to you that the duties that we use for the H-1B, and this is because of how USCIS likes to see this. So let's say that I'm taking as an example here, a designer too. It could be an engineer, like a civil engineer, a computer scientist, or just imagine whatever your title is and pick one of your duties. I'm just taking a designer here because we do a fair amount of designers. So think that the duty in the job description offer letter just says, design, develop, and support the conceptual development of a complex and sensitive design project under supervision. Done. For the H-1B purposes, we ask you to expand that sentence to add a little more. And typically also we have a percentage of time that you spend in that duty. Many times the paralegals put this together based on our experience with similar cases. So they basically already give you this expanded duties for you to just review. And if it looks good, we move on. So how do we move on? Then we take a project sample. And what we're going to have you do, some of you are already working for the petitioning employer. So you're already working on a project of some sort. So you could take that project as your sample for one of those projects. Now, for some of you, you may not be working for the petitioning employer at this time. So we are either going to have you work with your future employer to select a project, or we're going to ask your future employer also, we've had this project sample that we worked on for another designer is it okay to use it for you? And if that's the case, basically we're going to use that project and have you work with you to make it more to your specific situation. Okay. Now the project sample as a whole, it ends up being about 5-6 pages with pictures. Now, some foreign nationals, which I commend you and thank you for doing that, follow exactly what we're going to tell you, and it works fabulously for you and for us. Some others either have more time, I don't know, they end up with a 10-page, 15-page project. That is too much. USCIS is not going to read 15 pages, so save your time. So maximum 6. Sometimes most of our projects have 4 pages. They pick one project, no more than one. That is solid, and then we develop this project sample from there. So here's what the project sample is going to have. One is the background of the project. So that section, which is typically about a page and a half, shows the practical application of your knowledge and work to USCIS. So think how your project, what you are doing, is contributing to the United States, contributing to your community, is contributing to the local economy, is contributing to your employer. So think beyond some of you may have heard this, there is a riddle or something that they ask a bricklayer, someone that is putting down, oh my gosh, it's not stones or something, what they're building. And one of them says, I'm building a church. So the big picture, and that's kind of what I want you to think here. It's the bigger picture. How is the total project going to impact the economy, your employer, etc.? Summarize a future, and this is kind of what I said to you before, a future or a current project. And again, this section for the background, estimate 1 to 2 pages, 1 to 2 pictures, and then you're done. You move on to the next step. This is more background on kind of what you're going to put on the project. So it starts kind of by your position and team within the company is blah, blah, blah. The project, what does it include? The project benefits and challenges. How will it benefit the economy or the community? For example, this project includes, the project aims to resolve, the project is value add, the project will improve the quality of life, and blah, blah, blah. We are going to give you a project sample redacted already, okay? So don't this video, don't let it overwhelm you, because we're going to give you a project sample. So you don't have to remember any of this except for the fact that when you're doing yours, I need you to remember to follow what I'm telling you right now. Don't overdo it. This is not going to help you. Use that time and energy for something else. So again, we have the background of the project. Remember that duty that I talked about before for the designer too. And I read you a paragraph, and that person did 35% of her time was dedicated to that duty. Now, when we get to a project summary, we take that duty and we expand it some more, okay? So here on the first paragraph, you're going to see the beneficiary under the supervision of a licensed architect will design, develop, and support the conceptual development, blah, blah, blah. And then this goes on and expands on that duty. And then it includes the courses that you took to support the knowledge that you have to do those duties. So for example, it's going to say, she will use the specialized knowledge gained through professional courses such as design studio and architectural design to assist in preparing these designs. So again, when you're doing this, I would suggest that you have your transcripts with you, and a lot of this we will prepare or help prepare for you. So you just need to fill in, primarily expand your duties on the project and include the courses that are helping you do those duties. So this is again an example. some of you remember that the H-1B requires at a minimum a bachelor's degree. Quite often, you may have a master's degree. Some of you may have a PhD, but we cannot require the position to have a PhD or a master's degree just because you have it, okay? So we typically, it's an entry-level position for USCIS purposes most of the time. So we're looking at a bachelor's degree, the bachelor's degree courses. So if you have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree, for example, what I want you to do is to look at both transcripts and include in your project summary courses from both your bachelor's and your master's that helped give you the knowledge that you need to complete the duties that you're doing, okay? And you don't need to list all your courses. Typically, we end up with a combination of maybe 10, 11, 12 courses, and then you're done. Now, next, and this is really, really important, pictures make your project come alive. So here I'm giving you some examples of, a designer, an architect. These are some of the pictures. If you're doing a sketches, if you're doing, so let me say, for example, an architect, a designer, I would like to have some pictures, if they exist, of what the facility or what your building will look like when finished or almost, but also the pieces in between that you're working on. And again, it could just be sketches, and that would be fine. Now, for some of you that are working primarily in the IT world, quite often what I get is like, well, I don't have any pictures of buildings, and I don't have any pictures of bridges, right? Because your world is, data on a computer screen. And if that's the case, that is okay. For those cases, we actually have had foreign nationals giving us pictures of them working on their computer screen like here, or also screenshots of some of the programs and things that they're working on. So that would be just fine. What I want you to do is think about your project, think about the images that could go with that. Again, you're trying to give USCIS an idea of what you're doing and why is it complex? Why does it require the specialized knowledge that you have? And rather than having you write 20 pages that they're not going to read, I want you to come up with or collect pictures that condense all that knowledge and information, and is much more pleasant to see in as part of the project. So the project, again, would typically look like the background of the project, then a picture of the project on the first page. Then the second page will talk about some of your duties and the courses that you're taking to perform those duties. And then we'll have some pictures in there about your actual work, something like this. And then it will have another, it's about 2 pages or so of duties and courses and pictures. And then some of the last things that you're going to be putting on your project is in-house tools. So, and the reason I put in-house tools is because USCIS is very, there's many H-1B visas that are being filed for third-party works. And for our clients, I would say 100% of the petitions that we file are in-house work. They're not working for anybody else. They're just working for our employer. So you will be using in-house tools like this as part of your project. So that also, I want you to list them. And if there are some pictures or images of those tools, again, to provide USCIS with a good idea as to what you're doing and using, that would also be helpful. Okay, so I am up to about 15 minutes. I don't want to talk to you anymore because I want to make this short, sweet. Please follow. No longer than 5-6 pages. Make sure that you have some fun, interesting, compelling pictures. use your transcripts, bachelor's, master's, combine those courses, incorporate it into the duties, and this will be a success project. So thank you so much for your attention. I look forward to reading the projects that you're putting together and strengthening your USCIS H-1B petition. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.